I'm here with Dr. John Nelson, my former professor at the University of South Carolina and longtime curator of the A.C. Moore Herbarium up there, and still out collecting plants all the time.
I love doing it, and in fact I got to do some this morning before I showed up here at the studio.
Okay. John, we have so many wonderful waterways in South Carolina. We are blessed. People love to boat, fish, swim. I love to swim in
That's right. I think there's boating and swimming and fishing are really high on recreational aspects of this state. So there's a lot of money in these things, and it's good for our economy. There's a downside to some of the aspects of this recreational offering that we do have, which comes from the presence of introduced weeds, especially the aquatic plants that really aren't supposed to be here, but for whatever reason are now with us, and they don't seem to be going away.
What problems do some of them cause?
Well, there's a good many different problems. I tell you, if you are a fisherman and you go out to a pond and it's covered with water hyacinth, you're not going to be doing much fishing.
Whoa.
Same thing if you want to be paddling a kayak around or even a motorized boat. Lots of problems with
they get caught up in everything?
Right. The physical obstruction of having these things.
Wow.
And then the plants wrapping around propellers, and it's a real mess.
So they can be pretty dense.
That's one of the big problems, is some of these plants are so good at reproducing vegetatively, they can produce thousands and thousands of individuals in a very short time.
Whew.
And that really kind of clogs up a number of very otherwise easy to navigate waterways.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in your kayak and you've got all this junk stuck all over your paddle.
Right. It's not easy.
Well, let's see what we can learn about these and talk about what's being done to try to keep them under control.
Okay, let me say, before we start looking at these herbarium specimens, we only have, I think we have 6 things in here to look at, which is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm afraid that there are dozens and dozens of aquatic or wetland aquatic species that are a very big problem. And some of these are actually illegal to transport as state law or even federal law. Some of these are just really serious pests. The first one we've got is one that a lot of people know about, Hydrilla. And that's the genus name, and it's also this common name, so we call this Hydrilla. It's a real funny looking plant. It's got rhizomes that are found down, they go down at the bottom of the pond or wherever.
Whoa, hold on at the bottom.
Oh yeah. And then it'll make these, actually they're rather handsome, I think, series of branches with these whorled leaves. Now the thing about these leaves is that the midrib is a little bit prickly.
Ooh.
And when you get into a big place, if you happen to be swimming around in this stuff, you will feel it, that it's a very prickly and kind of awful thing to be feeling, at least whenever that's happened to me. But it is a flowering plant, and it produces male and female flowers. It's a little bit complicated.
Sometimes
on the same plant, but more often on different plants.
Does it stand up above the water at all?
No,
or is it
it's
floating?
Really, usually I say, submersed and just below the water surface.
Okay.
So it doesn't really break the surface too much. You could find it that way, especially if it's stranded on the edge of a pond or something.
So, like the Santee Cooper Lakes, are they shallow enough that it would be found there?
Oh,
they
sure.
They could be from the bottom and come under the water?
Right.
Really?
And now this is you haven't asked me, where did this thing come from?
Oh, well, where did this come
I
from?
think in my research, I found out that it has actually showed up, first of all, in North America, as far as we know, in Florida. And this is back in the 50s.
Florida's kind of the gateway for a lot of exotic
plants. Yeah, and a lot of those things.
Not on purpose. I mean, they fight it more than we.
A lot of those pest plants are like funneled up north through Florida. But as an aquarium plant, this is just a wonderful thing to have.
Oh, Lord.
Problem is, and we presume in Florida, somebody threw this stuff out from their aquarium into a creek or something, and boom, it went everywhere.
Whoa!
So,
just from that simple.
and you've got to think that was maybe not just one episode, but people are still doing that. It's not like there was only one instance of that happening. Anyway, when these little plants the stems get broken up, each little piece can start up a new plant.
God, this is real
So
impressive.
it is a mess.
Okay.
Let's look at the next one. And like I said, these
This one
specimens,
flowers. I see a flower.
these specimens were kindly donated by the curator of the herbarium, Dr. Brown. So
Dr. Eric Brown.
we're taking good care of them.
we'd be careful.
Now this one looks like Hydrilla a little bit.
That's kind of.
And it's got these kind of whorled leaves again, dark green and kind of pretty. It looks feathery. Looks like it would make a great aquarium plant too, and it does. It
And it has flowers.
And this one has flowers. The thing about this one is that the leaves are a little bit larger than what we found in Hydrilla. And they don't have those prickly prickles on them. So if you feel this one in its favor, that if you feel this one, it's relatively smooth. And it does make flowers, it being a flowering plant. And of course, the flowers will be produced close enough to the surface that they can break the surface, and they'll be on long stalks.
It could be thick enough that you would see lots and lots of these little flowers.
Thousands.
Come on.
I mean, if these things are like you could see this stuff, for one thing, in the where the Broad River and the Saluda River come together, just
Right there.
outside my neighborhood.
Gosh.
And there would be tons of flowers. They're real pretty too.
So it almost looks like a carpet.
Sort of, and it sometimes is actually mixed up with Hydrilla in the same
look.
place. But this is another one, like I was saying earlier, that some of these things have been popular for aquariums. But this plant is native apparently to Brazil. And who knows how it actually got into this part of the world. Okay, well, let's look at another one, which is a really cool one, a real pretty one too. And this one grows here in Sumter County. And this one is called Uruguayan water primrose.
My goodness.
And this is a plant that can grow on solid ground, but it likes to be in a really wet place, like at the edge of a pond.
Okay.
And it can crawl around on the mud, and it makes roots everywhere. And then it will send up fairly weak stems. Gorgeous flowers when it does bloom.
I can see there apparently if the colors stayed true.
Yeah, and the
yellow.
petals fall off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But they'll leave the calyx will sort of a star-like calyx after the petals have fallen off.
All these nice features.
So this is Ludwigia hexapetala, which is also an import from South America. Let me point out that there are some other species in this genus, Ludwigia, that are native and are wonderful to have. And just because it's Ludwigia doesn't mean that you have to get all jittery about anything that's in this genus, because this is another reason we have botanists, so the botanists can tell you.
Are some of the other ones aquatic as well?
Right, yeah, but not terrible like this one.
Well behaved.
Pretty well behaved. Okay, here's one that everybody knows about, I think. And this is alligator weed. And this is, again, this is common all over the States.
And it looks like it'd be hard
Maybe
to get
not
through.
quite in the mountains, but it is another import.
A larger range than actual alligators.
At least right now.
Right, yeah, we'll see. Okay.
But this is another plant that can grow on relatively solid ground, but it really likes to be at the edge of a pond. And if you've ever tried to get your boat through this stuff, it's a mess. Moreover, this will cover up small ponds and just be a total nightmare if you're trying to go fishing.
Yeah, well, and also there's no sunlight that can go into the pond.
That's
it's just
right.
completely occluding all the light.
And we didn't point that out earlier, but you're right. And so what that does is occludes the other native species that should be there, the other aquatic plants that aren't nearly as aggressive. So this one also, even though it makes flowers, and they're
Yes.
sort of attractive,
Yeah.
you'll see this blooming in the summer coming up. That in the axil of one of the leaves of the node, there's opposite leaves, 2 at each node, there will be a long stalk with a head of little white flowers.
Mm-hmm.
They're very chaffy and white. That's not just one flower.
Oh,
that's
it's like
several flowers.
asteraceae or something.
Sort of,
kind. I
yeah.
mean,
And so it doesn't seem to make seeds again. It doesn't go away in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
It might be knocked back. It'll be knocked back and become quiescent.
Yeah.
But when it warms up, boy, it's happy to start
to
it all
go.
over again and start blooming. And as far as I know, there aren't any wildlife species that appreciate this as a useful plant. So alligator weed, you know, there's really nothing good about it around here. Okay, I mean, it's native someplace, but not here. Okay, let's look at this one, which is maybe one of the most beautiful aquatic plants there is.
And guess what? People will try to buy it whenever they can.
That's
find it.
right. And it's called water hyacinth. And this is not native either. This is also from South America. Now, this is in the same family as the plants that we like to call pickerel weed, which are native, and they're very beautiful, and they have purple flowers that are very attractive. They also bloom in the summer. But water hyacinth is an import that floats. So this is a floater. And it is really cool the way it does it. It's got a rosette or a cluster of leaves down at the base of the plant, which are filled with this, what we call arenchyma. That is, the tissues are nothing but cells that surround air.
Whoa.
So very spongy, and of course they float like.
So it's on an inner
great.
tube. It has its own inner tube.
Yeah,
basically.
it's got an inner tube.
What a clever plant.
Yeah, like one of those water noodle things, pool noodle. Anyway, when it gets ready to bloom, of course, it will send up a flower stalk between all of these bright green leaves. And the flower stalk, of course, will have a bunch of flowers on it. The flowers only last 1 day before they turn into sort of mush. And they're actually kind of hard to make a specimen out of, which is pretty obvious here. And they also make connections between plants. Look at this.
Oh.
It's sort of an aquatic stolon. So these things are going crazy, like making babies all the time and making a mat. It's all held together. Can you imagine how difficult it would be, like dealing with this thick mat of stuff? You see this in a lot of.
You can't fish in it. You can't send your line out to any of this stuff and bring it in.
And unfortunately, a lot of people are vexed with having their ponds or something clogged up with this stuff. And they got to spend a lot of money getting rid of this sort of stuff. There's a lot of different horror stories going on in various ways.
This is a beautiful looking thing.
And this is the last one. And this is.
But there are, cupboards at the herbarium with other specimens of invasive aquatic plants.
Right,
These are
like I said,
this is just a sample.
We only brought in 6, and there are plenty of other species. This one it's got a nice name, water lettuce.
Oh, how lovely. Yeah.
Because the leaves do look sort of like lettuce.
Yeah.
And the scientific name is Pistia stratioides.
Stratioides.
And this is actually a plant that floats, and it very readily makes, again, little stolons that can makes lots of babies and a big bunch of roots underneath the plant, easily clogging up waterways and the surface of a pond. It's pretty, and it has a place in your aquarium as long as it doesn't get out. So I guess, I didn't say that if you feel it, and we're not supposed to feel the specimen, they're sort of fuzzy. It's kind of unusual for an aquatic plant to be fuzzy, but they are. And it is a plant that is sort of more or less related to Jack in the Pulpit.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. It's got tiny little flowers.
Yeah.
And the botanists have determined that it belongs in the same family as Jack in the
cool.
pulpit, and philodendron.
John, I would imagine that places like Santee Cooper that are in charge of these lakes must spend millions and millions of dollars trying to keep these under control, because those are such very important recreational
Right,
spaces.
and I don't think it's restricted to Santee Cooper. But you know, Amanda, there is plenty of information out there for the public. If you're a boat owner or, you know, a recreational aquatic person, please check out the information that Clemson has on aquatic plant species,
Yes.
as well as DNR.
Yes.
I know they have a lot to tell the public. And to pay attention, for one thing, about carrying aquatic weeds from one water body to another one.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the worst aspects of getting these things moved around. And we were talking about how easy it is for portions of these plants to break off and get snagged onto your boat someplace.
And they just reproduce vegetatively, and there they go.
In the next place that you put your boat. So that if you are taking your boat home, be sure you do an inspection before you go off into another boating experience and make sure it's a clean boat.
Okay. And I will say that while you're out there boating, you can take a bag and you can collect floating litter at the same time.
That would be a nice thing to do.
I mean, let's all, it's, you know, it's not somebody else's job, it's all of our jobs.
You know, Amanda, you've told me that if everybody would just pick up one piece of litter, there wouldn't be any litter.
Well, it'd be a lot less, wouldn't there? and I do that. I do pick up, particularly.
So do I.
Yeah, yeah. I love my state.
I do too.
I want it to stay
It's
as
a great
beautiful as
state.
it can be. Thanks for telling us all this today.
It's been a lot of fun, Amanda.